All right. So it seems like the majority of us still need time to get some of this stuff done. So let me explain to you what you're doing and then what you're doing after if you finish. So again, the number one most important thing that needs to get done is this Out of the Dust Interstellar. So remember, you're choosing 3 out of the 7 things to do. That's the first thing that you should be working on, and make sure it gets completed. So it seems like some of you guys have turned it in. Third of you. If you finish that, you're working on the flashcards, which some of you completed. Okay. As soon as you are done with those, don't worry about this plot diagram yet. That was what you're supposed to do next, but I'd rather have you guys do something here. Now, let me explain. Actually, I didn't include the assignment yet. I'll put it there in a second. So, what we're going to be doing this marking period, and what you guys are going to be responsible for, you're going to be doing a bunch of independent reading, right? So you're going to make sure that you find a book either on your own or through Learning Ally, and you're going to be reading it probably like every day for like at least 15, 20 minutes. And then what you're going to do is analyze it in different ways. So most of the time when we're looking at what we read, we generally write like paragraphs, but there's other ways of analyzing reading besides just doing writing. You can do it visually as well. So what we're going to do is just look at some versions of analysis that are not your typical just writing. And I'm going to show you guys how to use Google Drawing to be able to do the same types of things. Have any of you guys ever used Google Drawing before? Does anybody ever play with it at all or have to do something with it?
Me. Yeah.
Oh, some of you? Okay, that's good. My last class, there was like hardly anybody. All right, so I'm going to just show you how to use some tools after we go over this real quick. So if you look at this, this is a pressure map. What a pressure map is basically you look at conflict. So conflict is the different types of problems a person might have or a character, and then list them out and show how they're pressures. So this is for the story The Goodness of Matt Kaiser. And you look at the main character, Matt, I guess, is in the middle, and then they listed out all the different types of conflict the kid is dealing with, and then they put where they found it in the book. So they put to be a minister's son, to keep conversations with Mr. Bataki private, to be the baddest of the bad, to be an angel, to never refuse a dare. And then underneath it, they listed out where they can find evidence to support it. So this is more pictorial, right? So you got your character here, you got your ideas here, your writing here, and then on the bottom they like summarized it. Okay, so this is one way, instead of your normal just type of writing, just using a graphic to do it. Okay, again, obviously this is on paper. I'm going to show you guys how to use Google Draw to do the same thing. All right, so that's the first one that we looked at. If you look at the second one, this has a couple other examples. So another way is just by using webs. Right, so webs are just like graphics that you can use to like put ideas together. This one's a little bit kind of disorganized in my mind, but you can see if you look at it a little closer that they have characters here. Right, there's a character here, they have a character here. They're probably talking about how they're all kind of connected, and then they have ideas shooting off of it, right? And they are all connected by like webs and lines. So that's another way of kind of organizing thoughts instead of just writing it out in paragraphs. This one is kind of almost like using a table. So they're listing out character names, and then they're giving characteristics or details about those. They also included like a picture of what I guess maybe they think of in their brain what the characters looks like. And then on the bottom they have some similarities, some descriptions, right? So this one is more written, but again, you can kind of see how they used a different way of organizing their thoughts, creating lists. This one is almost similar to the web, less shapes, but basically the same type of idea. They're using lines and ideas on top of those lines to kind of talk about the character. So there's also other types of tools that you can use, like timelines, to talk about stories. Now, what I'm going to show you guys how to do is how to use Google Draw. Again, I'm recording this too, so you can look at it again if you need to. So the first thing you should do is go to Google Drive. I don't know, I just find it's easier to like open stuff up in Drive. If I'm in Google Drive, you can use this thing on the right to access Google Drive too. So I'm in Google Drive. I go to New, click on More, Click on more, and then make sure you're opening up Google Drawings. All right, so let's start with the super basic stuff. Okay, I'm not going to go too in depth, but it's easier if you're just playing around with it to get to know how to do things. All right, so the for the most part, what you're using is shapes, okay, text boxes, and then images, and they kind of have an easy tool that they access them right from the toolbar. So this is for shape, right? And then if you click on it, it opens up other things. So you have shapes here, you have arrows, you have callouts. There's other stuff here, right? This is the text box, right? Text box allows you to write inside of shapes and the other stuff. And then this is for pictures, okay? So you can either upload pictures or just use the web, which is probably the easiest thing to do. Another place to look for stuff is here. I always use the insert. I don't know why. I just always use this instead. So insert pulls up all those different options, right? So I have image again, text box, shape. Okay. There's other things here too, which are useful, like table, which you guys know how to use. And then chart or diagrams, or line. Okay. Lines are super useful. There's also line right here as well. Okay. Now, let's just go through the basics. So first thing is just basically being able to make a shape. Either I can use this or I can use insert. Okay, it's up to you. So go to insert, shape, and then most of the time all you're going to really use is like squares or like rounded rectangles or circles. You know, that's basically what most people use. So let's just go to like a basic rectangle. I click on it, and then I click and drag to make it, right? So I make it however big I need to make it to be. And then I let go, and then it makes it, okay? Now, when you're using this, you could leave it colored like that. But a lot of the times when you're going to be using these tools, you're probably going to make them transparent. So how do I do that? I click on it, and then I go into the fill color, which is right there. And then I click on it, and then I make it transparent, okay? So now I have a rectangle that is empty on the inside, so I can write ideas here, okay? So that's the basics. Obviously, if I want to resize shapes, I click on the edges, and then I can resize them. I can also click on the shape themselves and move it. Oh, I don't know how that happened. That's wackiness. Hold on. Sorry, that was weird. So I click on the shape itself, and then I can drag it around. So there's other things, right? So if I want to move it, manipulate it, I just simply click in it and drag it, okay? All right, so now, again, when I'm using it, I want to be talking about specific like things that I want to say or write inside of it. So to do that, I click on the text box, or I can hit insert text box, and then I move it to wherever I want to write, okay? So I want to make sure wherever I position this thing that I put it where I want to write. And then I do the same thing, click drag, and then I can write in there, right? So again, a lot of the times you're like writing like names of characters or something, right? So now I have my text box. Now, again, I can move it around. Again, when you're putting the text box, notice that it's not like attached to it. It's just like inside.
Mister, how do you get to the page again?
How do I get to what? To Google Drawing?
Yeah.
So there's once I'm inside of it, the easiest way to always do it is just go to Google Drive. Okay, so once I'm in Google Drive, then I go to New, and then I can just go to Google Drawings. You see it? That's how you get to it, okay? You can also access it from like the classroom. If I'm in classroom, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So there's this thing's here. So if I'm in Google Classroom, I can click on this thing, and then it's got to be here somewhere. Actually, I'm not seeing it here.
I looked, there's not there.
There's got to be like another thing here somewhere, dude. Maybe if I go to more. You could also just open up a document. Actually, yeah, I can go to Drive from here, so that's the easiest way. So I can go straight to Drive, and then from Drive you access it. Okay? So that's another way of getting there. All right, now. So now I have that shape, okay? And then what I want to do is talk about relationships between other things. So there's two ways of doing it. I can use the lines to connect ideas, right? So there's different types of lines too. A lot of the times you might be using like the arrow or like an elbow connector. So again, same thing, click on it. then wherever I want to put it, and then I can point to whatever I'm pointing at. Okay. Now it shows, you see the arrow there, right? So it's like pointing. There's also other things you can do, which are kind of key. So if I'm clicking on this thing will pop up over here where it says line weight. Line weight makes you able to change the thickness. Okay. So if I click on that, it's probably set on like 1px or whatever this is. So I can click on it and notice it got thicker. Okay. So that's just a cool little tool that's just kind of useful. Now, another thing that I might be linking is ideas. So say this is about the story that we read about Rosora, whatever. So what does she do? She's, I don't know, let's just say like Rosora is in the hold on. What you always have to do, so you see how that popped up the arrow again? It's because I still have it on arrow. So you might want to just click on this, which is just like the pointing tool. A lot of the time you have to click on the pointing tool so you can do something else. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just put like, oh, Rosora, let's say like she is in the kitchen or something. And then my next idea is she gets to see the monkey or something. So in order for me to kind of think about how I can show that, and you could just use Google Images, which is this. So I click on image, and then I can, easiest way to do is just like search the internet, and then this will pop up on the right side, and then I can type in monkey. And then I have images of monkeys. I find the image I want. Let's go with this guy here, and then I pull them and drag them in. Okay. Now obviously that's too big, and it's also in the wrong place. So I can resize him by clicking on one of the corners, click drag, and then I can pull them and put them wherever I want. Okay. So that's pretty basic ideas in terms of how I can be using images instead of using sentences to kind of think about ideas. What you guys are going to be doing is just playing around with this a little bit just so that you're familiarizing yourselves with it. Another tool that is super useful, I'm just going to delete all this stuff. Just delete it all. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. All right. Another tool. Right, so those are how you use like the shapes, how you use the pictures, how you use arrows. Another thing you can use is if I go to diagram. Okay, now something that you might use a lot is timelines. Okay, so I can click on the timeline, and then I can put how many dates I want on that timeline, and I can also change the color. Okay, so maybe I want red, and then I want, I don't know, 6 dates or something. Okay, and then I choose which one of these timelines I want to use. So I don't know, maybe I want to use this one, and then it pulls it and puts it on the bottom. Okay, so I would change the date here, and then I would put whatever facts I want about whatever under here. Okay, so that's another kind of cool, useful tool that you can use, especially if you're doing something in like social studies or something. Now, what I want you guys to be doing after you're done doing the stuff that needs to get done first is, let me actually attach it so that you see. So, classwork, assignment. So we're doing graphic organizer. All right, so a lot of you guys probably will not get to this. Actually, this one. All right, so all right, so this is basically what I want you guys doing. Hold on, I'm just saving it. Just gotta wait for it to save. Let's take this over. All right, so this is basically what you're doing. And again, this is just for you to kind of get used to using the Google Draw. Right, so you have an option. So you can use webs, right? So remember, the webs are like just like the shapes that are connected. So you're creating a web. You put yourself in the middle of the web, and then just include shapes around it that describe yourself. Okay. The second one is you can use a timeline. If you use a timeline, you're basically going to either describe events that happened to you yesterday, or you can do events that happened to you this week, or maybe you can list out events that happened this year. Another option is, I got to show you guys how to do that. Actually, no, you guys should be able to do this easily. So just basically with this, you're just creating a table. So, and in order to do a table, you guys should know how to do this already though. You can do insert table, and then this is basically for how many boxes you need. So if I'm comparing like 3 things, I would make it to 3, and then like, I don't know, let's say it's a list of like 5, and then I can make my table. It's pretty simple. You guys should know how to do this. I'm pretty sure I've shown you that. Another thing you can do is create a pressure map, again, which is basically almost like a web. So you put yourself in the middle, and then you can put like things around it pointing at it, and then just describe it. And the last thing is a Venn diagram, which I didn't show you how to do, but it's pretty easy. So to make a Venn diagram, you do a circle. So insert a circle. Right, click, drag. You want to make it pretty big, right? Because it's Venn diagram. Okay, now I have it. It's blue here, so I want to make it transparent. I click on it. Go to the fill color, transparent. Now I click on it again, and I want to duplicate it, which is edit, duplicate. Now I have 2. So I click and drag it. And let's move it over like here. And now I have a Venn diagram. Okay, so Venn diagrams are just ways of comparing and contrasting stuff. So again, to write on it, I would just insert text boxes and put them wherever I want them, right? So that's that. Does anybody have any questions on how to use draw at all? Are you guys all good? Everyone understand?
So we need to pick one of those.
Yeah, so you're just doing one. Again, I just want you to play around it more than anything. Okay? So just so you're familiar with it, try to choose one that you're not really used to using, just so that it's, getting you familiar with how to use one of those tools. Again, first thing that you should be working on though is the out of the dust stuff that has to get done. I got 6 of you guys turned it in. When you finish that, work on the flashcards. When you finish that, work on this thing that I just posted. Okay? It's pretty simple. And I'm going to be playing some music. I don't know what I'm going to go with. 80s, 90s, 2000s. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. If you have any questions, just type it in the chat, and I will help you.